Comic companies seem to be really afraid of letting any series now go past issue 100. And when I say that, of course, big too, because who cares about indie comics, right? Nobody. Certainly, the numbers on my channel, whenever I review them, reflect that. But the big two superhero companies seem to have fear as of late of letting any comic series go too far. And I'm not a fan of it. I dislike this a lot. There's a few reasons why this might be happening. One theory I've had is that just maybe what they're trying to do is create easy spots for new fans to jump in. And personally, I actually think it might be hurting it. So, what is one of the most successful mangas of all time? One Piece. These are the giant box set collections that they've been releasing of One Piece, which has gone on for about 1,000 chapters right now. And every day, One Piece is acquiring new and new followers. Now, there's a certain contingent of people out there who are very adamantly convinced that American comics need to become a lot more like manga. I don't really subscribe to this, but I do find it endlessly confusing that there are multiple series now out there with the same title, all claiming to be the first issue. That's confusing and that's weird, and I don't like it. Because even me, somebody who's been reading comics for a while, finds it a little hard to figure out where to start with a new series. There are 6 Amazing Spider Man, 20 different comics with the variation of Superman. When I'm looking for specific storylines and issues, I find it really confusing, and it would much be easier for me if I could just go to Spider Man issue 274. The Spectacular Peter Parker is Spider Man, issue 3. No, a different issue 3. I find that very frustrating and endlessly confusing. And I'm somebody who knows quite a bit about comic books. I can't imagine how frustrating and confusing it is for people who don't. But a probable reason why they might be doing this is it seemingly is that there's some evidence that sales increase every time they release a new #1 issue, which is fun because it seems we're stealing ideas directly from 90s Image comics, which I don't think is a great idea. With comics, I would really like it, if possible, to be easily able to read a coherent storyline. And you know what? It doesn't really throw me off if the number is #1 or number 200. That's okay. But what does throw me off is trying to find a bunch of different #1 issues with a bunch of very similarly named series. And the fact that there is a minuscule sales bump, possibly from doing this, feels bad for me, relying on constant gimmicks and trying to appeal exclusively to, oh, maybe this will be super valuable in 30 years, like Superman #1 was. I just don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. Because the last time the comic industry did that, there was a massive crash because it turns out 1,000 issue 1s of superheroes nobody cares about isn't gonna really fix things. Like that doesn't increase value. Now, to be fair, these new issue #1s are of superheroes people actually like, but they did that in the 90s too. There was a bunch of issue 1s of random superhero comics that nobody cared about, even from superheroes that they actually liked, and it still crashed. But just stop this. If nothing else, it's very personally annoying because when I'm trying to look up random storylines, I find it very difficult to find. Sometimes temporary sales bumps hurt long term profits. I really wish I could explain to companies that make creative things like comics and TV shows in general that sometimes it's really important to build up word of mouth with stuff. That sometimes things aren't an instantaneous success, but sometimes things with long term, huge success that make billions of dollars took a while to establish. It usually takes a while for a real big franchise to build up its name immediately. And just maybe we need to just let a series take its time and not worry so much about temporary sales bumps. Let's not do Moneyball, but for comics. Again, this is mostly a personal grievance. I do think creators are shooting themselves in the foots a little bit by doing that, but I'm sure I'm the only one who hates it, and everybody but me loves it. That's usually how it goes when I make these videos.